bit of screen magic. You got to have the microphone out of shot. Do you watch those YouTubers who have the microphone in? Well, actually, that's a better view, isn't it? But do you see those YouTubers who have the microphone kind of in shot and they're talking to it like they're a DJ? That's crap, that is. Whereas I tend to position mine just there. It's the news and it's coffee time. This is getting a little bit cold because I was talking. I've had a busy morning because I had the men looking at my boiler, my annual corgi boiler check. So I'm standing up for ages. Boy, they took a long time. They took a long time. It took all morning. Meanwhile, this is coffee time where we look at the Daily Mail website top story. It's the Andrew, formerly known as Prince. Yes, Andrew Mountbatten Windsor. He was ordered out of his Royal Lodge home where he's been for over 20 odd years, isn't he? And he disappeared under the cover of darkness, and here are the removal vans outside of the Royal Lodge up at Sandringham, and he's gone. He's gone. Apparently, King Chuck, he wasn't too happy with it. He wasn't too happy with this. He said, "Why aren't I invited to those kind of parties?" And that's that's an Epstein picture. But yeah, so he's out. And there's another Andrew picture of him. I don't know what they were doing. He's got no shoes on. He's gone full Stephen Wilson. But yeah, Chuck wasn't too happy with Andrew keep riding his horse around the grounds, and he's gone. He's out. A royal source says the sight of him plastered on the front pages of newspapers out riding his horse or driving his car past photographers in Windsor amid the continued poison of the Epstein files was too much for King Chuck. And he's gone. But where's Fergie? Where's Fergie gone? Meanwhile, one of the other side effects of the Epstein files is, of course, Lord Mandelson. Do we have to call him that anymore? Do we have to call him Lord Mandelson? Peter Mandelson? We'll just call him Pete. Because let's face it, I think he's already quit the Lords. He's resigned from the Lords. Now they've just got to strip him of his title, and everything would be good. But Sean Woodward, who was Northern Ireland Secretary under Gordon Brown at the time, came up with an astonishing claim. He believes that Mandelson might have lost the plot because he was in love with Jeffrey Epstein. Yeah. Because again, there are a trove of millions of emails which shows the very close relationship between Mandelson and the paedophile financier. It shows them sharing sexual jokes, with the peer quipping on election day in 2010 he was hoping for a hung parliament or a well hung young man. So yeah, maybe. And here is again, you can see, Mandy does look rather enamoured. Look, the way his foot is pointing up, that's an invitation. Did you know that? Body language, how to read body language. You see, his face is very open and his foot is extended towards Epstein. That's a come on, that is a come on. I think there might be some truth that he's in love. And there's the email about wanting a well-hung young man. It's like a Carry On film. It's like he's Kenneth Williams. Oh, well hung, eh? Oh. Yeah, and this was Mr. Woodward claimed this on BBC 4's PM programme, and he said, yeah, it's because he fancied him. But yeah, Keir Starmer has threatened to pass legislation to kick him out. But yeah, he should really hand his title back. But Kemi Badenoch is pushing to have certain documents released by the Labour Party about how he got the America job, the ambassador job, and whether or not Starmer knew anything about it. Again, Starmer's in a bit of a difficult position because he wasn't in power. He was doing the CPS stuff when all this was happening. So he's being castigated for something that happened under Blair's watch, and Gordon Brown, of course, or as they his nickname was, I think Mandelson's nickname for Gordon Brown was Smelly. I think that's come out, which is nice. They didn't get on, I don't think, but yeah, it's a role to do, and it could, if the wind blows in the right direction, maybe end Keir Starmer's reign as PM. I mean, let's face it, was it Boris Johnson? He got kicked out for having a glass of champagne at a birthday party. Who remembers the crazy days of COVID? Oh, they were crazy days when everyone lost their marbles. So you never know. You never know what might happen there. What else is going on? A lot of Mail Plus stories. This is a Mail Plus story that might be of interest, but we'll never know. I think many who watch this might be of interest to them. If your manhood measures below this specific figure, you may be one of those thousands of men who suffer in silence with a micro penis, but you can grow it. I missed my chance, and now my life is ruined. So there you go. If you've got a micro penis, you need to sign up to Mail Plus to find out. Look, if you've got a micro penis, learn how to cook. That's it. Learn how to cook. I can't say the next bit. Ping, because it's a bit rude, but it's about eating something. Learn to cook and learn how to eat. There you go. You'll never go hungry. With the ladies. Unfortunately, it's been announced that John Virgo has died, aged 79. John Virgo, legendary snooker player back in the day when snooker ruled the earth. I'm going to mention him again. I haven't watched snooker in years, but I used to watch it back in the 80s and into the 90s. Again, a great player. Here he is posing. I guess this would have been around the time of when he did Big Break with. Was it Big Break? Is that the name of it, or was it Top Break? I can't remember. With Jim Davison, snooker, Loopy, Nutsarwe, Chaz and Dave. But yeah, he passed. It's funny because he was only commentating the last month, and here he is with his wife back in 2016 at the funeral of Ed Stewart. Ed Stewart. He was the DJ who had a 14-year-old girlfriend, and he took her to Spain so he could. Because the laws were more fair. Don't worry, he married her, and they were married for a very long time. But the 70s were a very different time, weren't they? The DJs could do that sort of thing. I'm not saying it's right. I'm just commenting on it. I know a lot of people go, oh. But yeah, here he is with Jim Davison, Big Break. That was another top game show in the 90s, and yeah, he's gone now. So bit of a shame. That thought I'd mention that for all you sports fans out there. So here we go. This is another Mandelson story, and this follows up what I was just saying. Mandelson plotted with Epstein to oust smelly Gordon Brown, boasting he was bigger than a lot of them and he would take over after the PM effed up the 2010 election. So again, these are more emails that were sent between Epstein and Mandelson. But yeah, even though Brown brought Mandelson back into the government as business secretary in 2008, it seems to be spending a lot of his time plotting with Epstein how to get Brown out of the office and him into power. There's a lot of murk here. There's a lot of murk going on. The paedophile financier joked at one point that Mandelson, who is gay, should marry Princess Anne and then divorce her, which would effectively dissolve his lordship status. Epstein also touted the idea of a joint leadership bid with David Miliband, another leading Blairite. But there you go. And when it became clear that Brown was on his way out, Epstein quipped, "Bye, Smelly." And there's Mandelson with Gordon Brown. And there's Mandelson with Epstein on his yacht. Isn't it murky? Isn't it murky? Yeah. What else is happening? Can't do that one. Can't do that one. Bill Gates has apologised, but he denies he took part in any sexual wrongdoing. Meanwhile, his missus, Melissa Gates, I think she still kept the Gates name. She gave an interview where she just said it's just all terrible. All of it's terrible. And she felt sorry for the girls and women who were involved in it all. But again, that's why she divorced him, because Meanwhile, Holly Valance, there's a name I didn't think I'd ever be talking about. Again, Holly Valance, for those who aren't in the know, she was ex-Australian soap star. Was she in Home and Away or Neighbours? I can never remember. Anyway, she went on to have a brief pop career in the 90s, I believe. And now she's the darling of reform. It's like, there's a lot to process there. You go from soap star, pop star, reform. That's a pretty interesting step, isn't it? If only the Daily Mail website will actually show me the page, because it's having a major meltdown. Danger, Will Robinson. Danger. Does not compute. Well, she appeared on GB News on Free Speech Nation, talking to Josh Howie, and she said during COVID, it was a big tester to see, right? And this is about I guess they're talking about freedom. But she said during COVID was a big test to see, like a retard meter, and Australia was quite high on that. Howie quickly apologised for her use of the term retard and said, sorry for using that word, but that's okay, but I think somebody unfortunately might be offended. And Valance said, are we not on Free Speech Nation over here? Where am I? Touche. Again, I don't really have a problem with the word retard, because retardation is a scientific thing. It's to retard someone who needs to hold it back, to shrink it. But it's a slur that's come from America. When we were kids, everyone was if you were stupid, you were a retard. It didn't mean you were disabled, and there was no slur to it. But somehow it's become associated with disability. I always thought it was for stupid people, you know. You're thick, but anyway. My son, he says I can own that word. It's to him. He said it's like the N word. He can use the R word whenever he wants. So he says I'm a retard. I said, you might want to tone it down, son. But he enjoys shocking people. So I don't know where he gets it from. I really don't. But yeah, so that was a very strange thing on GB News. Not that, is anyone watching that? Is anyone watching GB News? But yeah, so she's got a song called "Kiss My Arse," apparently, which is her anti-woke song was briefly banned on Apple Music, and that's what she was talking about. Sorry, I should have read that first. I've kind of done the introduction as the outroduction. Meanwhile, it's Michael Jackson news. There's a new documentary about Michael Jackson coming out on Channel 4 on the February the 4th. It's called The Trial, and on Unearthed Tapes, the The Prince of Pop detailed his reliance on relationships with children, explaining he'd rather see a child again. Charmant! Yeah. The Billie Jean singer is heard claiming that children naturally gravitate towards him and fall in love with his personality, which gets him into trouble. Let's see. He owned a kind of an amusement park with animals, like, you know, and had a chimp, and had all the latest arcade machines in his house. And I wonder why children gravitated towards him. So yeah, the haunting clip here is Jackson reveal: "If you told me right now, Michael, you could never see a child, I would kill myself." And yeah, so he died in 2009 of a drug overdose. That was from acute propofol intoxication. There we go. So here he is with a young friend of his. Oh boy. I'm sure it was perfectly innocent, all of it. But no child should know that Michael Jackson has a multicoloured penis. Just saying, no child should know that. Should they? No. Today from the world, let's do some World of Stupid news. 2 Brits have been kicked out of India. This is Lewis Gabriel D and Anisha Emma Christine were deported for breaching strict tourist visa conditions by engaging in political activism. Not Activision, they're a computer game company. Sorry, I got the wrong teeth in. Wait a minute. That's better. No, I've gone. I've got to get them in right. In political activism, I've got it right that time, while visiting the pilgrimage hotspot of Pushkar in Rajasthan. They actually went there and plastered pro-Palestinian stickers across the temple town. Officials said they were alerted on January the 21st that the pair was seen placing stickers around the town reading "Free Palestine, Boycott Israel," and police moved in swiftly, accusing the couple of violating India's immigration laws and undermining diplomatic sensitivities. And look, this is the face of 2 idiots. Let's stare at them. Look at their dopey faces. Look at them. Look at their self-righteous, moronic mugshots. Oh, how dumb do you have to be, and totally insensitive to the people that you're visiting. Why would you do that? Why would you do that? Rajesh Meena, who's a superintendent of the area, told the Times of India, engaging in activities that disrespect other nations whilst on Indian soil is a clear violation of visa rules. He also warned foreign visitors are closely monitored. Our watch on these activities of foreign nationals is very strict. If any foreign citizen is found violating the conditions of a tourist visa, they will be identified and strict action will be taken, including deportation and blacklisting for the future. Yeah, so there you go. Absolutely. And here are some of the stickers that they put up. They couldn't leave it at home, could they? They couldn't leave it at home. And that's Pushkar. There you go. My goodness. Sure, it'd be vandalism as well, wouldn't it? How about some more stupid? Do you want some more stupid? Okay, here's some more stupid. We're going in and hitting in on the stupid really early, because I've got some other serious stories to do. This is the story of Valeria and Camilla, who have joined Instagram just 2 months ago and gained more than 288,000 followers on the social media platform. Here are the stunning twins. We've got a lot of these pictures to get through. Here they are. Here they are. Oh my goodness. Look at them. Look at them. These conjoined twins. Look at them. Are you ready for this? Are you ready? Well, people actually believe that they were conjoined twins, but they're not. They're AI. Of course they are. Because if you've ever seen anyone who's, any twins who are conjoined, it's not as Photoshop perfect as that. There's usually a little bit of, you know, biology involved. I'll put it politely like that. And yeah, many of the photos, the twins are wearing bikinis or revealing clothing. And yeah, apparently on their Instagram it was revealed, I don't know why it's revealed because it's not true, it's just made up story, that they're 25 years old and born and raised in Florida. When quizzed on their shared body, they claim they have two hearts, each control one side of the body, and sometimes and they talk about their love lives and boyfriends and stuff. But again, it's all absolute cobblers because it's all AI. I can't think why men would fall for it. I really don't. Because, again, these men, I'm going to be crude, they're imagining I'm working the shaft and the other working the balls, aren't they? That's what they're imagining. That's what they're imagining. I've said it now. But you've got to be careful out there. There's an awful lot of AI. There's an awful lot of AI out there. Oy, oy, oy. Shall we actually get back to more serious news? Now, remember last year? Do you remember last year there was a change in the law? They had managed to sneak in this weird change where they decriminalised abortion up to birth. Yeah. Well, they're at it again. They're at it again. This is there's a new the crime and policing bill is now being debated in the House of Lords, right? And it's a lengthy, important piece of legislation. All right. This is actually like an opinion piece. I'm having to read through it without quoting it so much. But anyway, in it there's a clause that's been put on, that has been added, right? And the amendment was sneaked in, right, by Labour MP Tonia Antionazzi, right? And clause 191 of this crime and policing bill is entitled "Removal of Women from Criminal Law related to Abortion." And it removes all remaining legal invigilation of women regarding abortion, allowing a mother-to-be to abort her baby up to full term for any reason at all, including its sex. Yeah, and this clause passed the Commons without any evidence, scrutiny or public consultation. Right? This law change, right, which in effect would reintroduce backstreet abortions, as women beyond the current 24 legal limit are in effect to be encouraged to abort at their own home on their own, using pills ordered through the post, which are not designed for use outside of a clinical context. And it's very strange. Everyone's pushing for it. The Royal College of Obstetricians and Gynecology lobbied for the abortion pills by post scheme introduced during the lockdown during the COVID-19 pandemic. Again, kind of understandable because we were all locked down. But it was never supposed to be permanent, though now it seems to be. It was only meant to be a temporary thing covering that COVID period, but now they never retracted it. So you can get abortion pills by post, which again, very dangerous if you're using them later stage of the pregnancy. But yeah, this is something that this person who's fighting this is written by Rosa Monckton. Again, I think she's an MP. She received a letter from a deeply concerned healthcare professional, and that they pointed out that babies over the age of 22 weeks are being legally aborted in medical settings, and they are clinically euthanized prior to surgery by lethal injection directly into the heart. This procedure is recommended by the Royal College of Obstetrics and Gynecology to prevent larger sentient babies from being delivered badly injured but still alive. But babies aborted in the domestic setting by the mother alone cannot be clinically euthanized. So they kill the baby, then they abort the baby, and that is safer both for the baby, well, baby's dead, and for the mother, right? But this new scheme and this new law means that that whole thing won't happen. It puts women at risk. It puts women at risk. An abortion medication only removes the line of the womb and starts labour. Therefore, late gestation babies aborted at home could theoretically be born alive. You know? And then some questions are asked by Rosa Monckton. What happens for weak limits set out in the existing law on abortion? So, at that time when a mother would be in most need of medical supervision, she would be alone. And this is what I said when this was announced last year when we covered it. I said you're effectively putting pressure on doctors to say, no, I can't deal with this, because they could be charged with aiding a murder. I don't know. What would the legislation be? Because you're only decriminalising the mother. You're not decriminalising any professional or any person around it. But I think they did try and extend that to the fathers too, would be decriminalised, and that opens up a whole can of worms there, because certain cultures, again, pressure from the men to abort female babies. Yeah. Clause 191 seeks to disapply the Infant Life Preservation Act of 1929, which protects the viable unborn babies, and its advocates call this progressive. I call it barbaric, says Rosa Monckton. So do I. Because again, if you've ever been to the ultrasound, if you've ever been in the presence of a pregnant woman, and we've been pregnant twice with the missus, you know that these babies are very much real. You know, they're in there, they're sentient, they react to you. And I find this all very, very, very wrong. And I think women are going to die. And I think men are going to force women to do things that, you know, that they shouldn't be doing. And yeah, Rosa Monckton's going to be fighting to have clause 191 removed. And I think she's right. I think more of this needs to be made. They may need to make more of this, because how this got, you know, snuck in via the back door. Where did it come from? Who lobbied for this? This is what we need to talk about, especially with the Epstein thing that's happening at the moment. Who got inside MP Tonya Antonoutz's head? I know Stella Creasy was another one. She was the one that wanted the fathers to be decriminalised as well. Now it's obvious that very rich and powerful members of certain religions will be pushing for this, all right? From certain parts of the world where cultures, like I say, very anti-female babies. And if the Epstein thing isn't warning enough that outside influence completely distorts our laws and the way we live and function in this country, then you've got to wonder about this clause 191 in the Crime and Policing Bill and where it's going to lead us. Again, abortion. I'm not anti-abortion. I think, you know, abortion should be used in certain circumstances. You know, I'm not one of those American radical Christian guys. I just think that there's a point when the baby becomes sentient and there's no one fighting for the baby. You know what I'm saying? There's no one fighting for the child. And I think some of us, we have to say, hey, this is barbaric. It's also going to kill women as well. But hey, this will happen. This will happen. We'll go from one miserable story to another, shall we? This is a curious one. This is the story of William Brock. He's 83 years old, right? And he found himself being scammed, right? It's one of those scams where they, you know, pick up parcels and whatnot, and he was being harassed over the telephone and told if he didn't do what the scammers wanted, I know they would harm his family and all this. They was getting heavy with him, and they said that their courier would be with him shortly to pick up a parcel, and so he decided he wasn't going to stand for it. And unfortunately, a female Uber driver was sent to his home in Ohio, Lolitha Tolland Hall. She's 61. She was sent there on the understanding she was to collect a parcel. And when she got there, again, this was caught on her webcam on her car. she was greeted with him with a gun. And again, she's confused. She's sent there to collect a parcel. He's angry and agitated. But what did he do? He shot her dead. He killed her. He killed the poor woman, shot her 3 times and killed her. And despite mitigating circumstances that, you know, that he was under stress, he was sentenced to 21 years to life by Clark County Common Pleas Judge Douglas M. Rastatter, and rightly so, because he didn't have to shoot that poor woman. He could have just said, look, there's no parcel for you here. He believed that this happened in March 2024, but he believed that she was one of the fraudsters attempting to rob him. But yeah, a jury convicted him on all charges, including felony murder, felonious assault, and kidnapping. Dashcam footage from a vehicle showed Brock pointing a pistol at her. A struggle followed, during which Brock shot Tollenthal 3 times, striking her in the upper left torso, left thigh, inside left knee, and the centre of her sternum. And the scammers behind the whole thing have still not been found. But yeah, Brock said he pled guilty, but he said he was being scammed for $12,000, and they threatened to kill him and his family. But there's been no evidence of this, and here is a clip. Here is the clip of them. Wow. And that's what happens when you live in America. It's not a good place. There are people with guns. Just waiting for the page to refresh. Sometimes the Daily Mail website gets a bit stuck. What else have we got? I'm trying to find some more acceptable stories. We need to can we do that one? Yeah, why not? An ex-footballer who was caught selling drugs. This is Francis Ventre, who played for Barrow AFC. He played a leading role in the sale of cocaine and ketamine worth £50,000. Was caught. This, and again, he was supplying. Did I say 50,000? I mean 500,000, half a mil. He was supplying the streets of Liverpool. Right. This is according to the National Crime Agency, the NCA. And Venture was using an EncroChat phone. These are one of these encrypted devices all the criminals use. This is going back to 2020, right? Here he is. He doesn't look very smart, and he wasn't. Here he is playing for Barrow back in March 1995. Well, anyway, he got caught, right? Because police realised the password he used for his encrypted phone was the name of his former club. What's his password? Shall we try Barrow? It's opened, and that's how they nabbed him. And he was sent down for 9 years this week. Yeah, he supplied a kilogram of cocaine worth nearly 40,000 pounds even. I'm reading the next bit. 63 kilos of ketamine worth £441,000 according to the NCA. So yeah, he was arrested in November last year and admitted. And this all came from his EncroChat phone, which was successfully hacked because his password wasn't 123. It wasn't password. It was Barrow, the name of his old club. So there you go. Meanwhile, let's have a laugh. Who fancies a laugh? We got some research from out of the University of Sao Paulo in Brazil, where they claim, and this was published in the BMJ of all places, yes, in the British Medical Journal. It's so dumb. It is so dumb. They've claimed that transgender women possess no physical advantage over those who are born female. Oh dear. Oh dear. Can you believe that? Can you believe that? What's that? Have we got a picture of them? Have we got a picture of the researchers team? Here we have. We do have a picture of the research team. Just trying getting it queued up. Here they are. This is an exclusive picture of them. If I can get the picture to open, here we go. these are the researchers from Sao Paulo when they came up with the findings. The team claims their data does not justify blanket bans on trans women taking part in women's sport. Now let's look at one of these very brave trans women. I'm sure he has no physical advantage over her or her. Shape of the shoulders, size of the legs, just the reach, just size of the lungs. No, okay, I'm not a scientist though, so I don't know anything. However, several scientists have slammed the study, saying it suffers from several problems. Yeah, it was written by clowns. Alan Williams, a professor of sport and exercise genomics at Manchester Metropolitan University, argues that fitness levels were not tracked over time and before treatment began, and that it's almost worthless to compare groups without a tight assessment of training history. Furthermore, hormonal treatment after puberty doesn't change skeletal dimensions like height, limb length, shoulder width, so those advantages to men in many sports remain in transgender women regardless of hormone changes. And also the sample pool wasn't large enough, and didn't have enough variance either. So yeah, I'm sure this fella has no advantage over women when it comes to weightlifting. Again, mediocre men go trans so they can beat women in their own sports, and that's it. It's absolutely bonkers. But there you go. So. And that'll be used by stupid people to justify stupid things to happen. All right. Now again, reasonable people would be asking for a third way, wouldn't they? Reasonable people. But only crazy people ask for this. Reasonable people, they are not. They'd ask for a third way. But they never do they? It's always about men invading women's spaces and nothing else. Funny that. Funny. I'm looking for some animal stories to end on. We need some. Well, it's been a bit heavy today. There's been no shells up people's rectums. That's the problem. We had all the good stuff yesterday. But today it's all a bit. It's all a bit miserable. It's all a bit miserable. Oh, here we go. This is a good one. This is funny. We're going to Nakhon Si Thammarat in southern Thailand. This is back on the 31st of January this year. Right. And this is a European duo. It happened to two lots actually, and they turned up at this wake, a Thai funeral, thinking it was a restaurant. It happened to two backpackers. So both of them thought it was a restaurant and see if they could get served, but no, it was actually the wake for a funeral. So there you go. Was it their fault? They only realised that they were at a funeral when they asked for cocktails, and they didn't get any. So there you go. Okay, we got a late entry from World of Stupid. We've got another TikTok challenge now. I can't even imagine what this TikTok challenge is. Right. Right. This is what is the challenge? Okay, this is a challenge involving microwaving a Nido cube. I don't know what that is, but it turns out it's a popular sensory toy or stress ball which has a thick gel substance inside. And the online challenge shows people placing the toy inside the microwave so they can soften it up, since they firm up over the time. But unfortunately, for 9-year-old Caleb of Illinois, it didn't quite work out like that. His mother, Whitney Grubb, thought that Caleb was heating up his breakfast, but she heard blood-curdling screams And what had happened is the toy had exploded on his face and hands, leaving him with excruciating burns. Oh, and this is a neat. Again, I've not seen one. I don't know if we have these over here. That's one of the toys. And the challenge involves putting it in the microwave. And this is what he looked like before. And this is what he looked like after. And again, it's not too bad. It could have been worse. But kids, don't do that. Don't put things in the microwave. It's very, very, very dumb. But yeah. Luckily, the boy's eye wasn't damaged. And they got some more injury pictures there, but they're a bit gorier, so I'm not going to do that. But yeah, he spent 2 days in hospital, but did not need skin grafts, but could develop scars from the burns. But they reckon he will make a full recovery. But just don't do it, kids. Don't do it. It's not cool. It's not cool, man. It's not cool. There must be an animal story somewhere. Is that one? Oh, do you want your dog to understand everything you're saying? I don't know. It gives me a chance to well, you can't really see it at the moment because again the settings are all wrong. I've got to change the settings. We're looking very bleached there, but turn the brightness down, Darren. As you can see, this one just treats it like a hotel. Look, spark out, tongue out, absolutely fast asleep. There you go. So there's a bit of dog cam there. But anyway, a technology firm reckons they've invented a gadget that can translate human speech into doggy language. This is a California-based business. Trainee is selling the world's first real-time human-dog conversational collar. And they've posted on their website, I don't know, a dog understanding. But I don't know about that. Can that work? I don't know. Can they, would that work? Celebrity dog trainer Sharon Bolt is doubtful that the app could ever develop into something which allows humans to have full-blown conversation with their beloved pets. But yeah. But apparently the translator turns words into AI barks, which the dog responds to. I don't know. Sounds a bit iffy, doesn't it? And here we have wildlife photographer of the year finalists. I've got lots of lovely animal pictures to look at. This is a brown-throated three-toed sloth being cradled by a mother, and there's a little smile. Look at that. He's loving it. Got a lot of pictures to get through. That's a lynx playing with a rodent that he's caught, and he ends up killing and eating. Yum. That's a bush-tailed possum mirroring its mother on the branch there. That's in Tasmania. Wow, look at that. That's an ambush bug nymph just waiting for prey. A sun bear. Wow, that is a crab hitching a ride on a jellyfish. Of course it is. A leucistic otter. So there you go. So he's was it albino, I guess, isn't he? There's a mother polar bear with her 3 cubs enjoying the sun, and there's one enjoying the snow. And tigers. And those are snares. That is a mound of snares that they've removed. This is at the Uganda Wildlife Authority, and they're 2 rangers from there, and they're all the snares that they've confiscated. That's a rufous-vented ground cuckoo in Costa Rica. He's a colourful chap. Flamingos between power lines. You got them feeding there and flying above. That's an album cover, that is. What's that? Pangolin pup. A Sarus crane. Lion-tailed macaque. Silkadeer. and that's got its severed head of its rival on its horns. Holy fiddle. I guess he won then. I guess he won. A spatule tail hummingbird. I've never seen one like that before. Young kestrels. Looks like they're learning to fly. That's a pod, or what they call here a super pod of dolphins. And they're hunting together. A cellar spider, or a daddy longlegs, carrying eggs. And two bears having a punch up. Might have been out on the drink. You're my best mate. That's in Canada. And that is a broad-headed bark spider. There you go. Lots of lovely animals there. Shall we see if there's anyone in the chat? There probably isn't. Probably scared them all off. Whoops. Whoop-she-do. Let's have a look. Brisbane's in. It says hello from Australia. Sarah's in bigger trouble. I don't know, she'll always find some bloke to pick her up. I predict this will gather big steam and bring down a lot of creeps. I hope so. Again, Epstein had fingers in lots of pies, and it's not just Epstein. There's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes that we don't know about in all governments all over the world, you know. And thankfully, this is the upside of electronic communication. Is it leaves a data trail. In the old days, they would have met in a bar and it would have been harder to prove. You know what I'm saying? They'd have had a conversation in real life or over a telephone. Unless they were being wiretapped, nobody would have known about it. You know what I'm saying? So, but now, because everyone's emailing and texting each other, there's a digital path that they can follow and find out who's connected to who. But it's very disturbing that people like Epstein could have so much influence over the British government. And he probably had influence over American governments too. And who knows where elsewhere. Again, they reckon he was in the thrall of the KGB, Mossad, possibly America. There's who knows. Neighbours, was it? Okay. Just a horrible person. Okay. Can you hear the word of the Rastaman say? I don't know. Said Bob. And Bond says Americans are devastated. They've only got one less tribute act to go and see now. Now Queen have announced they won't be touring there anymore. Well, again, have you heard Roger Taylor's delightful song called Chumps? It's probably the worst thing I've ever heard, because everybody's suffering from TDS. I wonder how Adam Lambert feels, because again, it's his bread and butter. I think again, the problem is they don't want to. If they've been vocal about Trump, there's a good chance they won't be allowed into the country. And they don't want the embarrassment of that. You've got to look at it from that perspective. It's a PR disaster for them if they rock up and they say, no, we don't want you because you've been vocally outspoken about Trump. It's happening with other people. Other people have been turned back. So imagine if it happened to Queen, if it happened to Roger Taylor. I'm not sure if Brian May said anything. He's more into badges. Again, aim low. Badges. Stick with badges. You'd be fine with that. But you know, I don't know what Roger Taylor's been saying. I try not to get my political discourse from musicians or multimillionaires, for that matter, of any ilk, because they don't live like us. They have no understanding of what politics actually does, unless it makes them pay more tax. That's the only time that they get really upset. For they do not care about us. They say it because they hope to sell more records. But all these people, when they get up and do this performative nonsense, whether it's an award ceremony or on a YouTube video or whatnot, it's all what it is, performative nonsense. It means nothing. It's all meaningless. Now, again, what they should be angry at, not Donald Trump. You know what Donald Trump is. You know where he came from. You know where he's going. And again, he's not exactly going to be around forever. That's nothing. I'm saying he's an old man. Like Joe Biden. These are not people who are going to be around and have influence forever. Everything has its time. What they should be looking at is how the political system has failed them. How the political system allowed this to happen, and how it shouldn't be allowed to happen again. But they're too stupid. They get up and they point fingers at people that they disagree with them and call them names. We're into the time of name calling. When you call the electorate racist or stupid or whatever, you know, whatever insults they're throwing around, Hillary Clinton did it, you know, Gordon Brown did it. It never works out well. It never works out well for them, and that's where we're at, because they don't care. The politicos don't care about you. They only want your vote. They don't care how you live and what you think and what you feel. They only care about your vote because they want the power. And that's how it's always been for about the last 25 years. That's how politics has gone, because these people have no interest in changing the world for the better. We wouldn't be in this. We wouldn't be doing this, would we? You know, we wouldn't be doing this. So that's what we've got to think about. And that's what we've got to think about. You know, the likes of insert your favourite TDS infused celebrity. What they should be looking at is how the Democrat Party failed them, how they allowed Joe Biden to stand again, and how they didn't get somebody up there charismatic. You've got to capture hearts and minds. They can't do that. None of them can. None of them can do it. You know. So that's why politics will fail. Will always fail now, because there needs to be a complete shift. They need to realise what makes people tick, what the people actually want, and they don't. They can't handle harsh truths. They can only maintain the status quo. Zib says, "Have a nice day." Oh, it's been pretty crappy at the moment, so I'm not having a nice day. So. But anyway, thank you for watching. That was the news. It's gone on far too long. Far too long. No one's watching. It doesn't matter. But we'll skip through the boring bits, missus, when you watch this at lunchtime. Anyway, that's it. Thanks for watching. That was the news. That was the news, whether you liked it or not. And you guys go and have a good time all the time. Oh, got to do the thing.
And subscribe, like and subscribe. If you don't, I'll spit in your eye.
There you go. Thanks for watching. Ta-ta.